'Cause your stare won't ever let me go. I'm here only 'cause I'm aware with you is better than all alone. Oh, 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 say what you're dying to say. No, oh, oh, tonight we're stars but we'll fade away. Go on and light me up, oh, go on and light me up while we're golden. Come on and light me up, oh, come on and light me up before we come down. Stars will always come down, so we'll
Hello everybody, welcome in here at Ghost Racing Network to Talladega Superspeedway tonight. It is the PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series. Going to be the Blaster 110 here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Qualifying currently underway. You're taking a look here at Steve Korsak, the man who is on a streak right now here, trying to get the pole yet again. We'll see if anybody can beat him tonight. But this would make, I believe, his 4th or 5th race that I've broadcasted where he would get the pole tonight. We'll see if he can do it. That 27 truck. Let's get down trackside here so we give it our view. And this is going to be his lap. We'll see where he starts out on the board as his teammate Zachary Lima is going to take the top spot at first. And, well, there it is. Just as I said, I must have jinxed him because that streak comes to an end right there. Zachary Lima may not end up sitting on the pole, but I can tell you who isn't. That's going to be Steve Korsak because his teammate Zachary Lima had just took it. It's going to be Cody Nagels now topping the board. And let's give this stuff a quick refresh. Remember, in qualifying, the scoring tower does glitch out just a little bit. In the race, it'll set itself. Be ready to go. Ken McCall Jr. gets on the board. Tony Cox currently 11th. Good to see Michael Kirk back in here. Looks like he's maybe thinking about going for a second lap. Saw Michael the other night. 54 truck. Had a pretty good run. We'll see if he can top that tonight. With about a minute and 50 seconds left here in qualifying, we are getting ready to go. Still getting some things set up. I hope everybody that is tuning in, even the people that aren't tuning in, are having a good night. Thursday, tomorrow is Friday, almost the end of the week, and that means we're going to have a lot of action coming up over the weekend for money racing. And you can catch a lot of it here on Ghost Racing Network. We'll let you know more about that as we get to it. And don't think Michael Kirk's really going to improve his lap time that much here, but we'll see if maybe somehow he can run a little bit faster. So we'll refresh this one last time as he crosses the line. Looking like pretty strong field so far from what I can see, at least tonight. Looks like we are going to have just over 20 trucks unless anybody else manages to sneak in before qualifying finishes wrapping up. J.R. Miller finishes his lap. Mike Davenport, one of the Team PGR drivers, rocking the Blaster paint scheme. And it is the Blaster 110 here tonight. We'll talk more about that, of course, once we get into your race info. But here's James Kaufman out on track. And one of the things I do want to have everyone do for me tonight, if it's not too much of a hassle, is just let me know how the audio sounds. Of course, I have the trucks a little bit quieter here during qualifying, but during the race, we will be turning the volume up. Just let me know if everything sounds mixed together okay or if anything's too loud or too quiet. Cody Nagels, Zachary Lima still sitting on track, although they have finished up their laps. Matt Hutchinson, he just finished his. Let's see if we got anyone else out on track. Doesn't look like we're going to have some drivers 19th on back, not qualifying with 20 seconds left. If they were thinking about it, it is going to be too late now. They're just going to have to sit where they stand. Looks like we already have a decent amount of Tony Cox fans in here tonight. Tony been in the last few races that have been broadcast and hasn't really had a lot of luck. We've seen him fighting for a top 5 there at the end, which is usually where the payouts are. Just hasn't really worked out. We'll see if that luck can maybe take a turn tonight. One of the most popular sayings, at least I feel like I've heard from one of the money racing drivers, was from Ken McCall Jr., who said, money racing does come in waves. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And I think that's the case for a couple of these drivers tonight. They're going to be looking to get out of that bad streak and into the good streak. We are going to get down here trackside, get ready to go. We'll be right back here at Talladega. And we are back live here on Ghost Racing Network. Let's get right into your race info. You are watching PGR Money Racing. It is their Intimidator Superspeedway Series. We are at the big, massive, intimidating Talladega Superspeedway for the Blaster 110. We are in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Going to be a 42-lap event. 100% fuel, unlimited tires, one fast repair, which these guys are going to have to keep in mind, and it is fixed setups. Talking more about the track, it's a giant 2.65-mile Super Speedway oval track. Temp currently sitting at 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Weather conditions cloudy, 6-mile-an-hour wind, a little bit more than we're used to seeing. Shouldn't affect the trucks too much, but might have a little bit of play on the handling. 44% humidity in 78 degrees to the temperature outside. Let's get right into your starting grid now. Starting on the pole, the man who took it away from Steve Korsek, who was on the streak. It's going to be Cody Nagels in the 6 truck starting first tonight. To his outside and second is going to be Zachary Lima. Sean Hill starts third. Rounding out row 2 is going to be Steve Korsek. 5th place goes to Ken McCall Jr. To his outside, Jimmy Crow Jr. Larry McDonald 7th. Matt Hutchinson 8th. Row 5 is going to be Ron Morris Jr. and James Kaufman. Moving back further, row 6 is going to be J.R. Miller and Curtis Rogers. 13th starts Michael Triscaro. 14th, Nick Fuller. David Sheets 15th. Mike Davenport 16th. Tony Cox starts 17th in the 72. Michael Kirk in the 3 starts 18th. Ian Martin 19th. William H. Scott Jr. 20th. And the last truck in the field tonight for a 21 truck field is going to be Mark Von Dell from McCall Motorsports. Pretty strong field here on a Thursday. We did see a little bit more last night in the FEG race, but this is still going to be a good field. 42 laps, pretty good amount. Some people like it, some people don't. I've always liked it because I think it gives everybody enough time to make their way from the back. We are still going to have that pit stop thrown into play, but it's also not too many laps where you have to worry about losing a bunch of drivers to those pit stops and potentially cautions, etc. But knowing that there is a faster pair, I think we're going to see some aggressive racing early. As you see there, Cody Nagels out of Rolla, Missouri, got the pole in the 6 truck. Just one last reminder as we're getting started, do let me know in the chat how the sounds for everybody. If it's too loud, too quiet, if you want to hear the trucks more, if you would like to hear me more, which I doubt, but and we will make sure we get it all set up. Mark Von Dell, who is starting in the back right now, looks like he's going to have his work cut out for him. He does have one of the veterans of Ian Martin back there with him. We'll see just how quick these two can make progress. It is set up to where there's no 3 wide rule, so these guys can get right to it, right down to business as soon as we drop the green flag. Quick mention, by the way, tonight's winner, it is a top 5 payout. We should probably start adding that to the race info, but either way, tonight's payout is going to be top 5. Had over half the field what the base scale for total payouts was going to be. So these guys still going to be walking home with a decent amount of money. Also, though, the winner going to be going home with a can of Blaster. Blaster, of course, the logo that you see running up. It is the Blaster 110, and we are ready to go as the pace car pulls off. Cody Nagels, Zachary Lima, Sean Hill, Steve Korsek. That's 3 Dale Cup teammates up there in the front. Sean Hill, can he get around? He's got his teammate Ken McCall Jr. behind him. Through the trial into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out. We are racing at Talladega. Good initial start from both lanes. You see the 77 is locked on, so is the 27. And this is going to be a good old-fashioned drag race into turn 1. Backstretch that first lap is where we always tend to see the most momentum. We'll see who can get it here. Rocketing out of turn 2, still getting up to speed for the first time. It looks like the bottom has the advantage. But as we show you the screenshot view here, there you go, the 13. Zachary Lima's getting a big push from his teammate, Steve Korsek. They are trying to get clear. I don't know if they're quite going to be able to. It looks like he's not quite going to get as clear as he wanted to as they dive into turn 3. And that is going to put Zachary Lima, Cody Nagels back side by side, looking throughout the field. Everybody's staying too wide as it runs right now. James Kaufman thinking about whether he wants the top or bottom lane. Zachary Lima inches out in front again. Steve Korsek not going to be thinking about making any 3-wide move. And how about the 90 of Matt Hutchinson in the sweet, I think that is Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. Haven't seen that paint scheme yet. Good to see it out here. Further back, looks like we're going to see our first 3-wide, and it is going to be from the 55 of Mike Davenport on that Blaster paint scheme. He's looking for some help. That 78, who you also see in the Blaster paint scheme, is actually one of the McCall Motorsports drivers. That is Ron Morris Jr. Looks like he's had a little bit of trouble maybe getting his paint scheme updated, so we're going to be working on that. His other teammate, though, Mike Davenport, that is going to be the 34 of Michael Triscaro, who's currently sitting on the bottom towards the back of this pack. Up front, Zachary Lima was able to drop down in front of their 3rd teammate tonight of Cody Nagels. That puts Steve Korsek up in charge in the top lane, and he's getting a huge push from the 90 right now of Matt Hutchinson. We have ticked off the first 2 laps, and now we're going to tick off the 3rd, so it's going to be 39 laps here to go at Talladega. Pit stops, will we see early, late? Remember, trucks on 100% fuel. Let's turn this down just a little bit. Trucks on 100% fuel can make it usually 30 to 32 laps. Is a pretty conservative fuel window. If you're out front, it may be a little bit different, but it shouldn't be too much of a factor. So we'll see if everybody decides to pit early, later, if we see a differing and variation of strategies. Show the dashboard some of the speeds these guys get up to on the front stretches. We will also ride on board. How about Cody Nagels here as he gives a push to Zachary Lima, his teammate, down the front? Here we go. See him as he works off the turn. Not really pushing right now. He knows he probably doesn't need to, being on that bottom lane. They're already carrying a little bit of momentum. Then he sees this outside, the 27, Steve Corset, creeping up. Now in the short shoot, he'll get a little bit closer to that bumper and even gives him a little shot right there. Boom. As they get down into turn 1, he lets off, but it looks like the 13 of Zachary Lima does jump back into the high lane here. Gonna get back with his drafting buddy of Steve Corset. It looks like the 90 did jump to the third lane. Not sure if he was trying to go forwards or backwards, but his mind's gonna be made up real quick as he starts going backwards. Now we're gonna see a third lane form. It looks like the 78, Ron Morris Jr. is gonna jump to lead it further back. The two Team PGR teammates of Michael Triscaro, Mike Davenport, and the 14. Boy, that got a little tight for a second with the 14 truck, but it looks like everybody seems to be okay. Nobody with any issues. Zachary Lima still leading this top line, though, and there's Michael Triscaro. Team PGR, of course, owner, founder, and driver, and he is the leader of PGR, so he is the one putting on this event tonight. All the guys enjoy it. Going up a little further in the field here. How about Nick Fuller out of Rochester, having a pretty good run so far in the 14 trucks. He goes 3 wide through the middle, the 78, the 76. I'll tell you what, this is throwing me even more for a loop because I think I just realized Ron Morris Jr. is back in his normal paint scheme tonight. So we do have a 78 truck, and I'll tell you what, I had got this mixed up. Sure enough, that's J.R. Miller, and that is a Team PGR driver. And I was kind of wondering, all of a sudden I saw what was Ron Morris's paint scheme. And that's it. So PGR is rocking a 3-truck stable tonight at Talladega. The team is growing. Been making a lot of progress. But let's talk about the team that is potentially on top of money racing right now. And that is going to be McCall Motorsports, being led right now. The highest driver in the lineup is going to be Sean Hill. He's got Ken McCall Jr. right behind him. And up top we see the 78, J.R. Miller is going to get a push from the 90 of Matt Hutchinson. And this middle lane is not looking too put together right now. They're going to have to really link up, or they might start to lose some of that ground that they've been working so hard to keep up. You notice Zachary Lima and Steve Corset were able to jump in front of Cody Nagels, as we are seeing some guys making slight contact with that outside wall up top. 65 Curtis Rogers was the one that I saw get into at that time. Mark Vondell still running a little bit towards the back here. Good news is just about every truck is still up in this main pack. Unfortunately for William Scott, he is not in that main pack. He's not a lap down, but he is 15 seconds behind the back and falling quick, so he is going to need a caution. He's going to be in trouble here shortly. But up front, the 16, that is Jimmy Crow, starting to creep back up with a push from James Kaufman. Looks like James is the only Team 3 driver in the field tonight. Up top, though, the 78, J.R. Miller for Team PGR. He's got 2 of his teammates, but they are being separated right now by Matt Hutchinson in that 90 truck. I bet they're kind of wishing he would get out of the way so they can hurry up and get up there. Take a quick moment to look at your track map. Oh, they're wrecking. Oh, we got a couple around on the backstretch. No caution. Oh, the 54, the 17, James Kaufman. Yellow flag is out. Jimmy Crow's all beat up. So is Sean Hill. That looks like Cody Nagels was also involved. 78, J.R. Miller. The 54, the 27. And that is going to draw your first caution of the night. It was just telling everybody, look at the track map, and then at the corner of my eye, I saw one of these trucks go spinning. It was almost like 2 different wrecks. You saw the initial one there. That was not the one that drew the caution, but this is going to start somewhere up front. So let's go check out Steve Korosek, because potentially is where this is going to start. Again, we're not sure yet, so we're going to try to figure it out. Here we go. Ride it nice and slow. Let's take a look from the blimp, actually. Oh, and that's going to be contact on the outside of them. So let's back this up a little bit more. You see J.R. Miller in the top lane. It's getting a push from the 90. The 90 is a little bit offset, though, right here. Oh, and he gets really, really offset on the left side of the 78, and that just hooks him. Turns J.R. Miller down into the 16 of Jimmy Crow. They get into the 27. Steve Korosek, Cody Nagels gets collected, and this group right here slides to that inside wall, and they're going to hit it pretty hard. Watch this. They all just kind of wad up down there. Cody Nagel's into it. The 77, Sean Hill, big hit. 78. Oh, wow. Does the 6 actually get up and over here? He doesn't quite. Lands back on all 4. And then I saw an incident involving the 54. And a couple other trucks. 54 tonight is... That's who we're looking for right now. Let's go see if we can find where this other event's going to start. There's a 54 right there. And I'm still looking as to where this is going to start. See who else was involved in it. Here's what we'll do. We'll back it up real quick. Because this is going to be a little bit towards the front at the time after that first wreck had happened. 54 is Michael Kirk. And let's see. This is right after the first wreck. So you see the 54 is shooting the middle right now. And it looks like everybody's okay right here. Is this going to be Steve Korsak trying to sit? No, it's not. James Kaufman going way up. Maybe he thought the 27 was coming up, and he goes right up into the 54 of Michael Kirk. And then that's where these two slide in. It is on for them as well. I didn't notice if anybody else got involved. No, it looks like they're actually all off the track. So you got to wonder if this was maybe an admin thrown caution. Because a lot of times iRacing won't throw it if drivers are wrecking off the racing surface. Let's take one more view of it from TV1, or TV2 rather. And we'll watch from where it starts to where it ends. There's the contact with the 54. Boom, down into the turn 3 inside safer barrier they go. Let's go back up front live and talk about your top 5 as they run right now. It's going to be Matt Hutchinson in first, having a really good run so far here tonight. Second is going to be Zachary Lima. Third, Michael Triscaro for Team PGR. Fourth, Michael Kirk. We just saw involved in that last incident. Curtis Rogers rounding out the top 5 drivers out of Citrus Springs, Florida. Someone says, let's go Matt. That is Matt Hutchinson. I'll tell you what, that's a good vote because right now he is having a very strong run. Sitting here leading the pack. Just about 10 laps completed so far. Still on lap 9 right now. And this is going to be close on pit stop, so we'll see if anyone decides to top off here. I think we could very well see it from a couple of drivers, as that would be borderline right at that window. I think we'll get the one to go signal this next time. We'll watch the pit lane cam here to see if anybody does decide to roll on down. Giblet says top 10 Tony. And that's what he's looking like right now. Tony Cox is sitting in 6th. Looks like the McCall Motorsports Group, followed by Jimmy Crow, Mike Davenport, Steve Korsak, and J.R. Miller, all going to come down to top off, maybe get a little bit more repairs. Sean Hill, Ron Morris Jr. also going to follow. Something to note, a decent amount of drivers did have to use their fast repair after that wreck. We don't have an exact stat. It'll tell us everybody that did, as you see Ian Martin. It looks like the 12 of James Kaufman as well, but winning the race out is going to be Larry McDonald, followed by Steve Korsak, Mark Von Dell in the 59. But a lot of the drivers that were involved in that did have to use a fast repair. I know Sean Hill was one of them. Looks like the 78 J.R. Miller may have as well. Jimmy Crow Jr. had to. Ken McCall Jr., he was also just topping off on fuel potentially. And Zachary Lima has lost both of his teammates so far tonight. So how is he going to go about this? He does have Michael Kirk behind him. You got to wonder what's going through that 54's mind right now. Didn't have to use his fast repair because you see he only got a little bit of damage on the left side. So the truck looks pretty clean still. But Zachary Lima is going to have to find someone to draft with. And I think he might like what he's seeing from that 90 of Matt Hutchinson. Maybe he's going to try to drop down in front of him. Michael Triscaro, though, one of the good pushers. We'll see if he can keep that 90 truck out in front. 10 laps of 42 completed so far tonight. If you are just tuning in, you are watching PGR Money Racing, the Intimidator Super Speedway Series. It is the Blaster 110 here at Talladega Super Speedway. One caution so far. Just a couple lead changes, mainly between Steve Korsak and Zachary Lima, who were battling it out for a while. Then they lined up, unfortunately. Steve Korsak was involved in that last incident. Your pole sitter, Cody Nagels, another one of the drivers collected in that previous caution. And we'll see if they can keep it green for the rest of the way. Fuel right now, though, as it stands, would be really, really close. So we'll see what drivers decide to be aggressive, which drivers decide to save. Pace car pulls down pit road. He's ready to go. Field all looking closed and together as they should. You see how long that inside line is? That's because so many of these drivers did come down pit road to top off on fuel. And NASCAR does put them single file on the inside if they top off. Green flag back in the air here in the Intimidator Super Speedway Series. Zachary Lima gets a good restart, but has absolutely no help from behind for the 54. He's going to have to try to get clear here. The 90 is going to get up, though, give him a side draft, keep it from having any chance at it. The Red Bull Racing Machine right now is just looking for some help from anybody. The 54, but Matt Hutchinson is still pretty far behind. Sorry, Matt Hutchinson, the 54. But Michael Kirk is still pretty far behind. Matt Hutchinson currently battling for the lead, and he's going to get an assist right here from Michael Triscaro. Props though to the 13 for hanging pretty tough down the backstretch. If that 34 gets clear, I know he's thinking about jumping up top. Not going to be able to do it though with the 54 finally getting to the back bumper. You see just how close Michael Triscaro runs in the corner. They usually won't really push. They might give a little bump once in a while in the corner, but you cannot push in the corner, especially in these trucks. It just doesn't work. It will turn that guy in front of you right around, send him right in the middle of the pack, and that is usually how we end up seeing the big one. The trial was a pretty sketchy place to try to push too, but oh, we're going to see 3, almost 4 wide already. And we are going to see 4 wide. They got to be careful right here. Zachary Lima on the 59. Oh, they're going to make contact. They're not going to hold on to it. The 54 down the track. That's Michael Kirk. Yellow flag is out. Jimmy Crow looks like he is in it again. This time the 54 does have significant damage. You saw him get 4 wide. I was a little bit afraid of that. Sure enough, they weren't able to quite make it work. Back to take a view of it. Jimmy Crow may have just retired from the race with that contact. All right, let's watch here. This is actually going to start further up with Michael Kirk because you see they're already 4 wide here. And I mean, I know everybody wants the positions, but I think right here, this is one of those things where one of the guys just has to just bail out. I mean, you don't lose anything. All you do is hop in the draft. But the 54 and the 13, here we go. They're going to get 4 wide. That top lane, Steve Korsek, the 6, Cody Nagels, trying to get around the outside. It looked like they're okay, but I'm assuming maybe the 14 or the 65 is going to come off the bottom here and get into Zachary Lima. And there it is. Yep, Curtis Rogers on the bottom. Not really holding the bottom as tight as he needs to when they're 4 wide. Comes up just a little bit. Gets in the 13 of Zachary Lima. That sends him into the 54. And then Michael Kirk, from this point on, spinning down. Mark Vondel is going to make pretty significant contact. Now he's spinning. Everybody's trying to avoid him. Most of the field was able to. Fortunately for Jimmy Crow, that's not going to be the case. Dives low, and at this point, you're committed. You're just trying. You're hoping that truck's going to stay up. Unfortunately, though, it just starts to slide down that heavy 30-plus degree banking. Jimmy Crow makes pretty significant contact. Looking like his day might be over. Not a guarantee yet. He might still just be sitting on pit road working on it. But let's take one more view of this here from the chopper view, and you'll see this 65. You see he's already up the track right here. Nothing malicious right here. And normally if they were 3 wide, you could get away with this, but when they're 4, everybody has got to be on rails, holding a perfect line in the 65. Here you go, just drifting up slightly. Zachary Lima running out of room. Boom, there it is. Slight contact, all it takes in these trucks. Up into the 54. Oh, I didn't notice this. Steve Korsek did get contact. It's all in the back end, but we'll see if that affects him and if he has to pit to fix it. Mark Vondel diving low. Can't quite escape. Larry McDonald, boy, he just squeaks by. The 10, William H. Scott, 72, Tony Cox, they all get by on the top lane. Ron Morris Jr. and Mike Davenport are going to make a little contact, but it looks like that's it. They get away with it. David Sheets, boy, he just missed it. Ken McCall Jr. through the grass, and there's the contact from the 16. Bringing out your second caution. Let's go back live and up front where Michael Triscaro is leading the field in the Blaster. Work it like a pro racing machine. Pretty good looking paint scheme. I think the red and silver combination looks pretty good. Second is going to be Cody Nagels. Third, Curtis Rogers. Fourth, Tony Cox, the fan favorite tonight if I had to guess. And William H. Scott Jr. sitting 5th. Mike Davenport just outside the top 5. Nick Fuller 7th. Matt Hutchinson 8th. James Kaufman 9th. Larry McDonald 10th. J.R. Miller 11th. David Chiefs 12th. Ken McCall Jr. 13th. The rest of these guys all just make their way out of pit road. Steve Korsek looks like he did pit to try to repair some of the damage. Doesn't use a fast repairs. I think he may have already used his. Zachary Lima also still has some damage. So does Ron Morris Jr. mainly in the back end. If the front end's clean, these trucks can still run pretty fast. And that looks to be the case for that 76. As long as he didn't have that damage in the back, I think he's doing it pretty fast. Sean Hill sits on pit road in the 77. The 98, Ian Martin. The 54, Michael Kirk. You see the 59 there of Mark Von Dell. He's got pretty good damage as well. Jimmy Crow Jr. looks like has packed it up. He thinks his night is done. Michael Kirk still sitting on pit road right now. As it stands, I believe we will be getting the 1 to go signal this next time. And now, once you've pitted, you are going to be good to go on fuel the rest of the way. Tony Roach says America in the chat. And Shirley Cox says hang in there, Tony. And I don't know if he needs to worry about hanging in there because right now he's going forwards. And I don't want to talk about him too much. Not because he's not no good out here. I don't want to jinx him. Because we talked about the bad luck earlier. So we'll just leave it there right now. Nick Fuller in the 14. He's having a pretty good night so far. Up 7 spots from where he started. Biggest mover in the wrong direction though right now is going to be Sean Hill, who is currently back 15 spots. Got involved in a wreck early after starting up front. He is trying to catch up to the 98 of Ian Martin, who is up 2 spots from where he started. And with us being the 14 of the 42 laps through here, like I said, everyone that is pitting out, and I'm telling you, all these leaders should have pitted. I believe they did. Be very shocked if they didn't, unless they did on the last one and saved. But if you have pit under this last caution right now, you are good to go on field no matter what. You can make it to the end. Overtime's maybe slightly questionable. They should still be good, but we'll have to see when we get there. If you are just joining in, you are watching the PGR Intimidator Super Speedway Series here with the Green Ghost on Ghost Racing Network. I hope everybody is having a good Thursday night. While they're on the pace lap, how about we take a quick moment to remind everybody about what's coming up tomorrow on Ghost Racing Network. You got 3 of the drivers from the League Dale Cup in here tonight, but that is where we head. Dale Cup going to be at Talladega in the NASCAR Legacy Truck Series for the last race of the season, so we are going to be crowning a champion tomorrow, and the champion will be getting a championship belt. Excited for that. We also have an FEG early race that will be broadcasted on Ghost Racing Network tomorrow. Don't miss out on that. I believe that is going to be around a 9:30 start time. We will, of course, get the link out as soon as we know. Getting ready to go back green. Michael Triscaro, one of the more aggressive guys once he gets in the lead. We'll see if he decides to stay on this bottom lane with pusher Curtis Rogers behind him, or if he thinks about maybe going up top where maybe there's a couple stronger trucks. The 6 of Cody Nagels, we know how fast he is. He got the pole tonight. 72 of Tony Cox has been on the move. By the way, Michael Triscaro and Tony Cox up 12 and 13 spots respectively. And William H. Scott, who we saw start, I believe it was last in the field. Yep, sure enough it was. It's up 15 positions in that 10 machine. Drivers all rolling out of turn 3. This is where they'll usually downshift to second, maybe a little bit earlier than this, so you might see a little bit of backfire out of some of the pipes. Now they're all ready to go, though. The pace car is going to pull off. We have seen 2 cautions so far tonight. Guys looking to clean it up. You see just how long that single file line stretches. A lot of drivers did top off just in case so they don't have to accidentally pit again. David Sheets looks like he got a little bit different variant of his paint scheme. It's a pretty good looking 06. He's going to try to make some progress. Up front, Michael Triscaro takes the green flag back out here at Talladega. Ooh, Ken McCall Jr. I don't know if he had an issue or what, but back there looked like he had an issue. We'll go to TV3 here to see if he figured it out. Sure enough, he did as he tucks behind Zachary Lima. May have just missed a shift, but he looks okay now. Up front, though, it's going to be Michael Triscaro on the bottom. He's awaiting a push. And Curtis Rogers up top. Cody Nagels looking to get a run with Tony Cox down the backstretch. And if that 6 does get clear, does he think about dropping lower? Is he going to stay high? Who do you want as your pusher right now? Still a decent amount of laps here. We are not at the halfway mark. In fact, we are still 5 laps away. Oh, and it looks like the 55, Mike Davenport, wants no place. It's sitting in line. He's going to jump 3 wide to that top lane. It's going to get help from the 90 of Matt Hutchinson. And they are already 3 wide before we come to even take 1 lap since we just went green. But up top, they only have 2 trucks right now. They're going to need a 3rd one if they really want to start making some progress. Curtis Rogers not really pushing on the bumper of the 34, and that's going to cause Michael Triscaro to fall back as we see Cody Nagels gets clear. Will he take it? Sure enough, he does. The 55, Mike Davenport, maybe got clear for a second, but he wasn't quite able to clear Tony Cox. And the 72 is now leading that middle line. Here comes Tony Cox out of turn 2. 55, Mike Davenport, the 90, Matt Hutchinson still trying up top. Looks like the 14 is thinking about potentially going with him. That is Nick Fuller. He is not there yet, and it's still going to take about a half a lap for him to get there. Up front, Tony Cox able to drop down. He takes the lead. That's going to put the dangerous duo of Steve Korsek and Zachary Lima in the middle. And right now, if you're the rest of the field, I'd be a little scared to see those two link up. If they can both get together and make it a trio, adding Cody Nagels onto it, they are going to be very hard to beat. 3 wide has dimmed back down into 2 wide, though, as we have now completed 18 of 42 laps so far tonight. That means 25 laps to go here at Talladega. And how about a Ghost Racing Network crank it up? Here we go. And that is going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. I hope everybody did enjoy that up front. Steve Korsek has taken the lead. Zachary Lima up top, and the 27's damage not seeming to affect him at all. The 6, Cody Nagels, still the pusher. And now we're going to see the 3rd lane try to get going from 2 Team PGR drivers. That is going to be Mike Davenport, Michael Triscaro. Now we see the 27 jump up to the top. I think he saw that his teammate Zachary Lima was about to get cleared by the 55. Michael Triscaro's got to be a little careful here. He wants to get his teammate out to the front, but he cannot push in the turns. He recognizes that as he is just staying close but not pushing. The 78, J.R. Miller, the 3rd PGR teammate behind the 90 of Matt Hutchinson right now. The 90 has been working with these Team PGR guys tonight, and I don't think he has a team. There might be something to that. Trying to find anyone you can work with. Let's go through the field, see how some of these guys that are sitting further back right now are doing. Jimmy Crow, he did retire from the race. His night is over. Mark Vondell trying to get back up to speed right now. It looks like he is currently 7 laps down. It's looking like the end of his night. Michael Kirk sits 2 laps down in the 54, so he still has a chance. Time's starting to run out, but if we get a couple cautions, he may be back in this thing. That puts 18 cars on the lead lap, Sean Hill being the last of them. James Kaufman currently sitting in 17th. Ron Morris Jr. has a couple teammates ahead of him of Ken McCall Jr. and David Sheets. But I think this group right here is just riding right now. They don't really need to worry about saving fuel, but I think they think this group's going to wreck again based off what they've seen so far tonight. So they're just sitting back here riding right now. Ian Martin going to participate in the non-aggressiveness right now. Looks like Tony Cox has fallen from the lead back to 10th, and unfortunately that is part of not having any teammates. They found a way to shuffle out that 72 truck real quick. But up front, Steve Korsek still leading to his outside is going to be Michael Triscaro. Then it's Cody Nagels, Zachary Lima, Mike Davenport. The 90 now is giving a push to the 34. Steve Korsek jumping back to the top. And right now, from what I'm seeing, it looks like Dale Cupp is trying everything they can to control this field. Mike Davenport now going to get the bottom back opened up, but look to see that 6 Cody Nagels drop down. He couldn't quite do it in time. Steve Korsek has fallen 3rd in that middle line from trying to block each lane. we've already seen these guys attempt 4 wide. Didn't work out too well. We'll see if they think about trying it anymore or if they've given up on it for the night. Oh, the 78 sends the 90 up into the wall. Matt Hutchinson looks like he saves it. Nicely done. This is what's keeping that little single file back group of about 8 trucks from making any moves. Every time they see something like that, it makes them scoot back just a little farther. The 55, got to be careful. He's starting to wash up off that bottom a little bit. That'll get the 14 of Nick Fuller on the wrong spot on his bumper as they work their way down the back stretch. 20 laps to go. They're coming up on a lap car. That is going to be Mark Mondell. Mark maybe looking to hop back in the back of the draft, help his teammates. It doesn't look like that truck is too damaged, oddly enough, but we'll have to see because, of course, he is 7 laps down. Cody Nagel's still leading the top with Zachary Lima, Steve Korsek, and Michael Triscaro. And it's about a 4-truck breakaway on the top right now. That bottom just not pushing as hard as they need to stay up front. And we'll see how long before that 34, maybe the 78, drop down in front of their Team PGR teammate. Try to make a run towards the front. J.R. Miller, there he goes. Oh, the 54 gets turned in the middle of the pack. Yellow flag is out. This might be the big one. 54 up in the air. The 55 is in it. The 03, Ken McCall Jr., he made contact with the 54. Larry McDonald gets it rolling. What happened here? I was just looking through some of the stats when it initially took place. It's going to be somewhere here with Michael Kirk, who was 2 laps down running in this main pack. And let's see if we can get an idea of it. Oh, and we're going to have to back this up a little bit more because it's kind of hard to tell from the way it initially started. Let's go to the chopper view. So watch the 54 on that outside line. You see the 90 here. He kind of creeps in. They weren't 3 wide initially, but as they get into the short chute, slowly but surely they're going to get 3 wide. I think the 54 maybe didn't realize this because you see he's trying to get behind the draft of that 78-34. And as they get into the corner here, it's looking like the 90 just scooting up the track, maybe a little bit. The 54 maybe coming down. I think if they knew they were 3 wide, the 54 maybe moves up here. Take one more view of it. They're both split in what we would normally call one lane right now. And it looks like the 90 just maybe coming up a little bit, maybe in the 54 slightly, but they do make contact. That sends them into the 55. Mike Davenport, who slides up the track. He makes pretty big contact with that outside safer barrier. The 65, Curtis Rogers in it. And is Tony Cox going to sneak through this one? Oh, unfortunately, he's not quite. Gets into the 54 and then contacts that outside wall pretty hard as well. The 10, William H. Scott, comes flying in, gets the 54 up into the air. Ian Martin looks like he was able to get it woed up in time. Prevents making any contact. And then you see right here everybody sliding down. I did see Ken McCall Jr. get some damage. I think his may have been off the 55 of Mike Davenport. Let's see if that is indeed where it comes from. It looks like it is. Yeah, there's the 10 and the 03. Oh, just slight contact on the left rear, but decently hard hit. And let's ride on board here with the 54, Michael Kirk. He had went for a decently wild ride there. Here we go. Michael Kirk not having a good night, and that may finish it off right there. Just making sure we didn't miss something here. Maybe we did. It's him on the backstretch. It looks like maybe he just decided to park it. Yeah, you see that truck just destroyed. No spin it. Yep, there goes the engine. Sure enough, just going to park it. Tows it. That will end the night for Michael Kirk. Let's go back live, though. Up front now, your current top 5 as they run is going to be Cody Nagel, Zachary Lima, Steve Korsek, 3rd, Michael Triscaro, 4th. And rounding out the top 5 is going to be J.R. Miller in the 78 Team PGR Blaster. I believe is he a Ford or a Chevy? They kind of have a mix. Yeah, J.R. Miller is a Ford. Michael Triscaro, Mike Davenport are both Chevys. And speaking of manufacturers, let's take a look at the split of the field tonight based off manufacturer. Take a look at your scoring tower. There you go. Looks like a sea of Chevys with a couple of Fords and Toyotas scattered throughout them. And J.R. Miller may actually be the only Ford. No, it looks like Jimmy Crow is as well. Unfortunately, Jimmy's night ended early. So we are not going to see much manufacturer help from the Toyotas, Fords, and Chevys. But in iRacing in general, guys don't really work together based off manufacturers. It's more or less teammates and who you think is fast and who you know is going to get you to the front. These guys are getting ready to get the one to go, so before we get there, we are going to take our one commercial break during the broadcast, but we're going to go Ghost Racing Network side by side, so you won't miss a thing. We'll be right back. Back live here at Talladega Superspeedway for the PGR Money Racing Intimidator Superspeedway Series. Tonight it's been the Blaster 110, and it has been a pretty good one, but also a very wild one so far. We have seen 3 cautions so far, and I don't know if I would necessarily believe you if you told me we're done with cautions just yet, especially with there going to be 15 to go this time once we take the green flag. These guys are going to be getting really crazy really quick. While they're getting ready to go green, we have noted this before for people that watch the streams pretty regularly, but for some of you that are maybe new tonight or just tuning in, I want to show you something about Mr. Steve Korsek's helmet here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but take a look in the rear chase view here. Look inside the cockpit of that 27. Look at the helmet rather of Steve Korsek. Looks pretty angry. Looks like he wants to get the win. And then looking over here, Zachary Lima has SpongeBob on his helmet. Opposite sides of the spectrum, but we'll see if they can get it done. To do it, they're going to have to get by Cody Nagels, their third teammate. Into the Geico restart zone again. We roll.
Green flag.
Green flag is back out at Talladega. Ooh, Cody Nagels got a good restart, and he's going to get immediate help from Steve Korsek. Zachary Lima, on the other hand, is waiting for the 34 of Michael Triscaro to get to his bumper. Will the 34 push, or does he think about 3 wide, 15 laps to go? I think if you're anywhere in this top 5 in the money spot, maybe you think about sitting where you're at for now and seeing how things play out. If you are any further back than that, it's go time. And let me tell you what, the McCall Motorsports Group, maybe not yet, but once you see one of them, you better believe all of them are going, as we see 3, almost 4 wide here on the first lap down the backstretch. Ron Morse Jr. and Ian Martin were linked together. Now Ron drops low, Ian stays high. And the 98 and the 14 are going to try to see if they can get to the front. Will Ron Morse Jr. be able to hop up? Nope, too late now. Michael Triscaro, he sees that third lane coming. What is he thinking about doing right here? Zachary Lima does have a little bit of damage. Wouldn't affect at all in the draft, but out in front, maybe just a slight difference in speed. But if Michael Triscaro can push hard enough, he should be okay with 14 laps here still remaining. Everybody has to watch their temperatures. I know it does feel like go time and you want to push to get to the front, but you have to make the engine in that truck last for another 14 laps. You can't blow it up till after the start-finish line. If you want a chance at finishing in the money, that is. Looks like David Sheets is going to be the first of the McCall Motorsports drivers to start getting really racy right here, as he is up to 9th right now. Ron Morse Jr., actually the one that's a little bit more racy, sitting 1 spot ahead of him. But these two look like they are bumper to bumper, and if they decide to go to a third lane, they would go with each other. David Sheets, the driver out of Wake Forest, North Carolina. But Cody Nagel still leads. Zachary Lima second on the outside. Steve Korosek third. That third lane, Ian Martin and Nick Fuller are finally starting to get enough momentum, almost get side by side. The 34, Michael Triscaro, not quite just yet though. And I think they need one more truck to really start get some progress going. Take a look from the blimp cam. You see these guys have gotten a lot tighter together. A couple trucks that are still sitting back. Looks like Ken McCall Jr., Mark Valdell, who is 6-7 laps down, I believe, right now. Maybe even a couple more. His race, he's not in it. Just up here to see if he can help a teammate. You saw Sean Hill back there as well. Ron Morris Jr. on the top lane right here. He has a very good pusher of Ian Martin behind him, and now it is just a matter of time before this third lane gets up there. The middle has fallen down to 2 trucks. David Sheets dropped back to the bottom, so that helps his teammate who is leading that third line even more. Larry McDonald in the McDonald's truck is trying to get up to the back bumper of Michael Triscaro, but it might be too little too late as Cody Nagel's going to jump up. Sure enough, he is. These are the games we see start to be played by some of these Dale Cup drivers. Steve Korosek may have needed some air. On the other side of it, Zachary Lima's been leading for a while. They do a quick switch there, and now they're going to be able to control 2 lanes. And the 76 of Ron Morris Jr. isn't going to be able to drop down to the middle as quick as he wanted, knowing there was only 2 trucks. Now there's 4 in the middle, 4 up top, and 6 plus on the bottom. Cody Nagels drops back down. Zachary Lima maybe getting a little hot, or he just liked the push. He was getting better from the 27. Let's take a ride on board here real quick. A couple of these drivers. First, let's start with the best view in the house, and that is going to be Cody Nagels out in front. But man, you see that truck. He is making the back of it as wide as he can, trying to protect all lanes. Steve Korosek on the bottom, Ron Morris Jr. up top. But then when you start to get a little further back in some of these pushers, this is where it starts to get a little messy. Ian Martin, you see he can't push in the corner. He sees that damage. He knows he doesn't. Oh, caution is out. Go back live. We may have missed something here. Sean Hill has crashed, it looks like. And he has crashed with Steve Korosek. Oh, wow. So this happened on the inside line, and we missed it because we were on the outside, and you didn't even see it from that view. Let's go look here. Steve Korosek doesn't look too bad, but oh, it looks like, sure enough, this might have been right before when we saw him really working the wheel. And he may have gotten turned right here. Let's try it from the chopper view first. Watch the 27 on the inside. He's getting a push right here from J.R. Miller. Ooh, but you see the 78 gets on him in the tri-oval. Usually a no-no unless you have really good chemistry with your teammates. And out of the tri-oval here, one of the sketchiest parts of the track, the 78 just gets into the right of him. And that turns the 27 down, but it looks like he saves it initially. The 78, oh, back up. That might have been slight net code or a little bit more contact. But now the 27's around. The 78, J.R. Miller can't avoid him. That sends the 27 spinning off the track. Now, there's going to be more contact here from the 77 of Sean Hill, who right now is up the track right now. But I think this 27 is going to come flying back up the track. You see him backwards right now. Actually, nope. Sean Hill's just going to lock it up. So never mind. He did not wreck. It looks like he just came to a stop to make sure he avoids it. Good job on Sean Hill's part. Let's take a couple more shots of it here. Yellow flag did come out late. It didn't come out till right there as you saw him stopped. There you go. There's the offset push. Oh, that might have been net code, that second one. Sends the 27 down. Right there, good thing Steve Korosek locked it up, because if he doesn't, it looked like the way that truck was rolling, it might have been rolling back up into traffic. Take one more view at this from TV2. Watch this. Right here, look at the little bump. You see Steve Korosek. You can watch his hands if you can even see him too. I don't know if you can quite see him. Makes a slight correction here. Doesn't overdo it. Nice save, but then this slight net code right here. I don't know how he doesn't come up and clean the rest of his teammates out right here. That is some quick reaction time. And I know he gets into 78, but he prevents a lot bigger of a wreck from happening by doing it. David Sheets did sneak by. It looks like everyone else was also able to get by without incident. Ken McCall Jr. jumps back in front of his teammate Mark Vondel, and then Sean Hill just comes to a stop. I think he saw that 27 trended back up the track and wanted absolutely no part of it. Back live, your current leader is still Cody Nagels. Second now, though, is Ron Morris Jr. from McCall Motorsports. Zachary Lima third for Dale Cup. Ian Martin fourth. And Nick Fuller, the 14, having a great night, back up to fifth. Currently in that last money spot. And a lot of people, if you're wondering, why do we only focus on the top 5? Well, that's because that's what's getting paid tonight. Top 5 payout. We had over half the field, so first place is going to be going home with over $100. That's a pretty good payout for a $15 entry here on a Thursday night. And I'll tell you what, while we are sitting here pacing, let's go see if we can get a word from your current leader, Cody Nagels. We'll be right back. All right, and I am here with your current leader, Cody Nagels. Cody, you got a copy?
Yes, I do, Austin.
All right, well, you do have the best view in the house right now, leading the field. But it looks like Zachary Lima is your only other teammate that's up here right now. Steve Korsek, we saw involved in that last incident. So how are you guys going to work together here and try to get the win?
Communication's just got to be on point because I think we're starting both on the bottom. So when we make moves, we need to make them together and not get separated. When we get separated, I feel like we're beatable, but we're pretty formidable. I think once we're connected. So that's the goal. Just stay connected.
Well, and that kind of brings up the second question I was going to ask, because you guys certainly were faster when connected, but at the end of this thing, I know sometimes part of the teamwork is maybe thinking about you jumping high if the 13 can stay low so you guys can both finish in the money. Is that a thought going through your mind, or are you guys just trying to get one person out in front as quick as possible?
I'll be honest with you, I think it has to do with where the runs are coming from. If the bottom's got a big run and there's no run in the middle, then of course, I'm probably just going to stay bottom. But it all is dependent on where the runs are coming from. If I feel like moving up to the top benefits us both, then I'll go ahead and do that. So I'm going to be flexible and not be so cookie cutter to one strategy.
All right, well, we wish you the best of luck. And as always, hopefully we are talking to you at the end of this thing. Good luck.
Thank you.
And that is Cody Nagels, currently sitting in that first spot in the 6 truck, ran on the pole. Been pretty dominant so far here tonight. Not as dominant as we've seen some other guys in recent races, but you heard him right there. What it's going to take to finish this thing off is teamwork and trying to go where the runs are. He's going to have a very hungry Ron Morris Jr. and Ian Martin is outside. Those two are going to be working together. I don't see Ian taking the 76.3 wide. However, Michael Triscaro in the 34, we've seen just how aggressive he's willing to be. He might jump to the top. Question is, with 2 McCall Motorsports drivers behind him, would he get any help, or would they strand him to go to the back by himself? A couple things since last time. Mikey Eden said, I'm enjoying watching this, my friend. Good broadcast. Thank you, Mikey. Glad you're out here. Hope you're having a good night here on Thursday night. Chad Bishop says T. Wayne, and I believe that is Tony Cox, the 72, who is currently in 10th, up 7 spots. Good news is he is inside that top 10. Excuse me. Only 5 spots out of the money. Bad news is he already did use his fast repair, so if he gets caught up in another wreck, his night would come to an end. We did put out a poll earlier about if a Chevy manufacturer would win it. Looks like 80% said yes, and it's a pretty good guess considering just about every truck out here is a Chevy. We do have the Toyota, though, there of Ian Martin, sponsored by Christian iRacers. He's looking pretty good in 4th. He would be in the money right now if he thought about making a move late, maybe get some help. It's going to be a 7 to go restart. So if you are in the back, I think if you really want to play it safe, you can wait maybe 3, 4 more laps at most. The problem is, as soon as they get 3 wide, kind of gets clogged up, not really anywhere to go. You can do 4 wide, but it's almost a slower, methodical thing to do. You really got to force someone to drop down in order to get it. But here we go. Field rolling back to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back out, potentially for the final time here at Talladega. Ooh, further back, somebody missed a gear. Tony Cox, they're all getting stacked up behind him. The 27 Steve Korsek goes 3 wide. I think it was James Kaufman that missed the gear. Tony Cox does a nice job staying off him. The rest of the field as well to get around it. Boy, that got close. Almost had a caution before we made it to turn 1. Up front, though, that puts Zachary Lima and Cody Nagels in a very vulnerable position as they are way out in front. You see they're trying to block the runs together. They jump right up in front of the 14 of Nick Fuller, and somehow the bottom is the one being stranded right now. 65 Curtis Rogers now going to get some help from the 10 of William Scott. And here we go. The bottom's trying to get a run, but looks like the top is coming a lot faster Now they start to fall as it's just the 76 and the 98. That middle looks strong right now with 4 trucks, and this is an odd-looking formation. Normally we see more trucks on the bottom or top, not in the middle. With a 14, Nick Fuller tries to jump up. Oh, he's not going to make it in time. Now they're going to go 4 wide. Got to be really careful right here. Looks like they squeeze through safely, and the 14 is going to be able to drop back in line after that. Cody Nagle still leading with 65. Curtis Rogers draws back even. And this is a good spot for Curtis to be in. First time he's seen a lead all night. And he's going to try to hold on to it for 6 more laps as things are getting crazy. We see the 34 of Michael Triscaro now jump to the outside to lead that 3rd line. Further back, Ken McCall Jr. Here we go. He's making his way up here. That means it is go time for McCall Motorsports. They can find an opening. Sean Hill in the 03. Sorry, Sean Hill in the 77 and Ken McCall in the 03. We're going to try to get all the way to the front right now, though. They're trying to get to their teammate Ron Morris Jr. to help him get out front. It looks like the 06 of David Sheets would be the first one there. The middle line still prevailing, though, with 5 laps to go. Just how long before this top really gets it going? Remember, Zachary Lima, Cody Nagle's trying to work together to hold it off. But now the 14, Nick Fuller jumps to the top. Can Zachary Lima put a block on it? He can't. Too late. He's going to have to stay in the middle. What does Cody Nagles do? Is he's going to be under attack rather from the bottom and the top lane. Here comes Curtis Rogers. William Scott, the biggest mover right now. He is up 16 spots from where he started. Ian Martin, the 4th car in that middle line. And it is getting crazy. 3 by 3 all the way through the pack just about. You see Ken McCall Jr. backed off. He didn't get up there quick enough, and he realizes now there is nowhere to go. He's going to sit back, hope these guys pile it up. If we take the white flag under green, then we will finish it under green. We're going to cost it before that. We will rack them up and try it again. 4 laps left here to go at Talladega. Right now, the middle still looks to be the strongest. Up top, Michael Triscaro. Oh, the 65 gets turned. Curtis Rogers, can he save it? Oh, he does for the moment. Can everyone else save it? Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Curtis Rogers, how did he hold on to it? He falls back. Oh, they're wrecking further up though. Now the caution flies. Couldn't tell who got in this one. It's going to be the 34 of Michael Triscaro. Doesn't look like he has a ton of damage, at least from what we can see right now from the camera view. Just looks like he went for a lot of 360s. Yep, see some rear end damage. That implies to me it might have been a turn. Oh, it looks like someone is smoking up here. And let's see if we can figure out who this is. Oh, it is going to be Tony Cox. No, that is not what we wanted to see. Excuse me, the engine is blown on that 72 now, so his night is done. He's going to bring it to the pits. Already used a fast repair. And all he can do now is watch and wait for the end of this thing. Looks like he's going to try to wait until pit stops open. That could potentially be a good sign, but unfortunately, I think it's over. We'll get back to it, but let's go take a look at this caution. See just what happened. It started with first, before anything, let's take a look at the wheelman here right before this wreck, and that'd be Curtis Rogers. I mean, are you kidding me? Watch this. Wow. Take one more view of that from a different angle, and then we'll ride on board with them. The 10, William Scott, trying to give him a push. Unfortunately, though, pits him offset right there into the corner. He's going to get on the left rear, just hooks him. Curtis Rogers not only keeps it off the track, but gets it woed up in time as well to not spin himself out. Let's watch from the onboard here, the 65, as I know his hands had to be. Watch the hands here on the left side of your screen. Here we go. Very subtle, very quick. Didn't want to do too much there. Now let's go to Michael Triscaro. This secondary vent is going to start. Oh, and you see there's contact already made right here. So let's see if we can get better insight onto exactly what happens here. Watch the third. Oh, and you can see it right here. That is a no-no. The 34, Michael Triscaro, looked like he was pushing the 14 in the corner. Sure enough, he is. And you'll notice it works at first, but the problem with pushing in the corner isn't that it necessarily can't work. It's that you have to be absolutely perfect. And all it takes is one slight little offset bump right there. You see how he just gets a little bit to the left? That's all it takes right there. There goes the 14 up the track. Nick Fuller. Does he keep it out of the wall? Makes slight contact with the wall, but then that causes the check up. The 76 hits the 34. That sends him into Zachary Lima. And then 34 coming back up the track, makes more contact with Ron Morris Jr. Looks like he nosed into the outside wall as well. Then the 76. He's spinning around right now, nowhere to go, and trying to figure out where Tony Cox is going to get involved and get all of his damage from in this event. Oh, and I think that's Tony arriving on the scene now, trying to dive low. Oh, and he can't quite do it, but you know what is a little upsetting about that? Boy, he barely clipped a 34. I'm not sure how that totaled his truck. Sometimes the game just kind of does that. Check back in on it, but let's take another view of it here. Michael Triscaro. I'll ride on board with him so I can show you what I'm talking about. Actually, let's ride on his nose. This might make it a little bit easier. So you see right here, this is where he's already offset, but let's back this up a little bit more. So right here, he's just off the bumper right now. And I know it looks hard to see, but that's what it is. He's just off the bumper. Boom. Now he is on the bumper of the 4. He's pretty square, but right. Watch right here. There you go. There's that little bit of a left offset. That's all it takes, sends the 14 up. And then now it is on. Gets down into Zachary Lima. And Ron Morse Jr. makes more contact, and that turns him into the Alabama gang super stretch. Outside wall. Takes a couple of hits, and then does a couple of pirouettes. Now if we go to Tony Cox, arriving on the scene, trying to get checked up. Oh, man. It looked like just a little bit of contact, but the problem is he hit it pretty hard still. The game is going to require that to be a fast repair, but you hate to see this. Still sitting on pit road is Tony Cox. His day is officially over. Going up front, though, it's going to be J.R. Miller leading the field in the Team PGR Blaster Ford F-150. Second is going to be Cody Nagels. Third, Zachary Lima. Fourth, Ian Martin. Rounding out the top 5, who looks like they didn't get the bad end of a stick, is the 14 of Nick Fuller. We saw him get up the track when he got that offset push from Michael Triscaro. Thankfully, it might have just been slight contact. But he seems to be okay. Steve Korosek in 6. He still has a decent amount of work ahead of him if he wants to go for the win. And some of these drivers back here, such as Ken McCall Jr., now it is go time. And with this being a restart, you're going to see that 03 trying to get to the top lane with his 2 teammates of Sean Hill and David Sheets. And they're going to try to go forward as soon as possible. This is going to be our first overtime restart of the night. Remind you real quick of the rules for overtime, just in case you forgot them. If we take the white flag under green, then it is checkers or wreckers from that point on. We will finish it under green. However, if they start wrecking and iRacing throws the caution before we take the white flag, then we will rack them up and do it again. And J.R. Miller looks to be in prime position right now. We'll see if he can finish it off. He is going to have a lot of work to do trying to defend this 6 of Cody Nagels, who has a good pusher, and Ian Martin is outside. The good news, though, for JR is he has another good pusher behind him and Zachary Lima. Zachary knows how to be up front, especially at these super speedways. Dale Cup driver. So we will see who gets it done. Also, who does take it 3 wide. I'm looking to see one of the McCall Motorsports drivers or Steve Korosek be the person to fill that position. And if you are just tuning in, get ready, because it is going to be overtime here. The PGR Intimidator Super Speedway Series. The Blaster 110. It has been a crazy race so far, and it might get even crazier during this 2-lap shootout. We're going to take a look first from the wide camera view just to see if everybody gets this restart off clean. We'll dive back down track side, but here we go, off turn 4. Everybody checking their virtual seatbelts one more time, as they know they might be in for a wild ride here in these next 2 laps. They always say, come home with the checkered flag and the check or the steering wheel. That's what J.R. Miller is looking to do right now. Pace car pulls off into the tri-oval. They roll. And he can't go any... Or no, actually they changed the rule rather, so he can only go on green. So it should be a pretty even restart, but here we go.
Green.
You heard the command, green flag back out here, Talladega. Ooh, that outside stacked up really nice right off the start. The 98 of Ian Martin is already on the back bumper of the 6, Cody Nagels. And just like that, the 6 is going to get clear of J.R. Miller. Does he decide to take it, though, or does he stay up top? The momentum seems to be up top on the backstretch. So I think maybe he thinks about staying up top right here, but we'll find out down the backstretch for the first time. J.R. Miller has now drawn back to side-by-side, but not for long. The 6 gets clear again. The 98 of Ian Martin hoping that 6 will drop down, give him a chance at it further back. They are 3 wide. Ken McCall Jr. Sticking back, he is going to hop up to the top lane with his teammates. Curtis Rogers is going to try to follow. Not sure, they almost went 4 wide for a second, but everybody hangs off to it. Steve Korsek got a little out of shape. Third truck on the outside lane. Now the 78 JR Miller takes back charge with a push from the 13 of Zachary Lima. James Kaufman to the outside, third lane coming, but here we go. White flag is in the air. Who is going to win it at Talladega? Down the short chute into turn 1. JR Miller still has the advantage. Third lane, not up here just yet. Ian Martin still pushing Cody Nagels. Will we? Oh, Steve Korsek. Oh, he's going to lose it. Oh, huge hit for the 27. Further back. Couple guys wrecking up front. JR Miller still leading the way there, 2x2. Zachary Lima was able to jump to the outside off of that, though. That makes Nick Fuller the pusher on that inside line. Can Larry McDonald think about going to the third lane with Curtis Rogers? Cody Nagels, does he have a chance to make a move on his teammate? JR Miller takes back the lead over. Does he think about jumping to the top lane? Zachary Lima and Cody Nagels gearing up for one more run, but it looks like he got a little bit sideways. I don't know if they're going to have time to get it back. Into the trial for the final time. Ooh, the 6 and the 13 have locked up. Oh, they're wrecking out back. Everybody spins. The 78 of JR Miller is going to win it at Talladega. And boy, that wreck collected just about the entire field. We're going to have to break that one down, but your winner tonight is JR Miller in the 78. And we are looking forward to talking to him and your other top 3, which will come momentarily. And while he's doing his cooldown lap, let's take a look. Actually, we'll save it for minutes. It is going to take a while because it got crazy at the end. But how about it? Team PGR driver rocking the new Blaster paint scheme. He's going to burn it down in Victory Lane. Salutes the fans, and we'll see if he decides to do any burnouts. Always cool to see these guys try different things for burnouts. Zachary Lima, Steve Korsek do some wild stuff, and we'll see what JR Miller can do. We haven't seen JR as much on the money racing scene recently. Good to see him out here, and even better to see him get the win. He's going to lock it down, and it looks like he's going to do a burnout with his PGR teammate, Michael Triscaro. So they go nose to nose. Oh, and the 90 slides in, makes contact. And they're trying to figure this thing out. Oh my goodness, Zachary Lima comes flying in. So while these guys all burn it down, let's go back and take a look at this white flag lap, because there was some pretty wild things that went on during it while we let your top 3 get in the booth. It's going to start here with Steve Korsek in that middle line. Watch the 27. It's going to start somewhere right here. 27. Oh, the 34, Michael Triscaro. Pushing the 4th car line. Yeah, you can't do that. The 27 has to check up here so he doesn't wreck Ian Martin. 34, Michael Triscaro still pushing. Steve can only hold on for so long before it turns him. And then trying to save it. Michael Triscaro makes more contact. That turns him up into the 17 of James Kaufman. Look at this hit. Flies up into the catch fence, and then this thing just starts barrel rolling like crazy. That is a wild, wild ride for Steve Korsek. Actually, let's just go right on board with him, because these flips might never end. Here we go. And after all that, wasn't even able to get back on his wheels, so his night did end there. And then we go up front here where the race is on. But this was a huge wreck in the trial that collected a ton of drivers. And it was one of those ones where it just seemed like no matter where you were, nobody could miss it. I thought the 6 of Cody Nagels was maybe going to squeeze by, but not even him make it around. All right, let's see where this is going to start. Still looking for it here. Nothing yet. Into the trial here. Let's see if we can see somebody. You see they're all just kind of condensing up, really tightening up. And it looks like the 14, Nick Fuller, gets the low. That sends the 10, William H. Scott, up the track. He gets into the 13, Ken McCall Jr., the 98 make contact, and then it's just on from this point on. Zachary Lima gets down into the 14, and they just start piling up. Matt Hutchinson, he's involved. We had one truck in the catch, a couple trucks in the catch fence. Cody Nagels almost into the grandstands. Boy, these guys, when they wreck, boy, do they wreck. Let's take one more view of this, and then we will go to the interviews. Watch this. Oh, and he was so close to the finish line. You see it there on the left. Unfortunately, he got stuck in the catch fence, and he couldn't quite make it. That is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen as he slid for a ways. And then Ian Martin, 98 here, as he also flips pretty wildly. This was more like the game grabbed him and kind of threw him. And J.R. Miller brings it home. Pretty good margin of victory right here. Let's see just how close it was. There he is at the start-finish line. And that's just how, not one of the closest ones. And I'll tell you what, JR probably felt pretty good about it, knowing he didn't have anyone in contention. The next driver back, the margin of victory rather, was half a second. That's a solid way to bring it home. I'll tell you what, let's now go get interviews from your top three. We'll go to them now. We'll be right back. Stick with us. All right, and also real quick, just in case anybody that was heading out or still here, we are going to be spinning the wheel for Ron Morris's Junior High Roller Race, which is coming up next November, but it's going to be a huge race. I'm talking, I think it's 10 grand worth of payouts, and it is going to be a $250 entry fee. So what Ron has done is created a way for these guys to have a chance to get in a lot cheaper. A wheel with 25 spots on it, $10 a spots. The first wheel has been filled up, and we are going to spin it right after we do your top three interviews. So make sure you don't miss out on that. It is going to be exciting. Let's start, though, with your third place finisher, Zachary Lima. Zach, you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, you bring it home third after a pretty wild wreck there in the trial. I'm going to be honest, I didn't even see how you made it out of the wreck, but what were you thinking there when everybody started piling up, and how did you get to the line third?
You know, I don't know. Once the wreck started to happen, it was all luck and fate. And, you know, I was just one of the lucky ones to make it out and get third. So it was still a good race. I had a lot of fun. Really, really good race.
Well, it looks like tonight you were the only Dale Cup teammate to finish in the top five. What does that mean for you and the team?
Well, that means me and the team are going to split the winnings and celebrate and drink some alcohol.
All right, that sounds like a pretty good third place finish plan, almost like a victory plan. But either way, ladies and gentlemen, your third place finisher, Zachary Lima.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll move on to second place. One of the drivers that I'm maybe most impressed with tonight, and that's Matt Hutchinson. Matt, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Matt, I don't think I've seen you out here for a while. I'm not sure if it's your first race or I just haven't really seen you out here. But either way, you come home second tonight. Looked pretty strong there a couple different times in the 90 truck. How'd you get it done and finish second tonight?
Yes, my second race with these money races. Pretty good group of guys. I was in the back right there. I don't know if you look at the replay. I literally was in 10th place. That first almost caution right there in the corner, I avoided it. And then right there towards the end, they wrecked again, and I was in 10th place and went from 10th to second and about 100 yards.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
No, actually, I do want to shout out the host right here, Michael. Appreciate the host and keep it up. It's a good league. Hopefully, everyone continues to support everyone sponsoring them, and we can keep it going.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Your second place finisher tonight, Matt Hutchinson. And now we'll move on to the winner of the night, J.R. Miller. J.R., you got a copy?
Yeah, bro, I'm here.
All right. Well, first off, huge win, kind of new to Team PGR. But here you are getting, I believe, what is the second win for the team. How's it feel?
This feels awesome. I mean, I've ran with you and run a lot of these money races, and I do it solo. And when I see Mike looking for teammates, and thank him for letting me join, but glad to get, PGR team in that victory lane again.
Good to see you in victory lane. Looked like you had a pretty strong night, but at the end, we really saw you at the front. What was going through your head that last tri-oval, I would say, when you saw everybody start to wreck in your mirror?
Yeah, I just had my spotter in my ear just telling me stay low, and I just, prayed I could keep the truck straight, and whatever happened after that. But yeah, I started seeing them wrecking, and I'm just like jumping out of my seat.
Well, you kept it straight and tidy all the way to the win. Congratulations. Before we let you go, though, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Yeah, hey man, you're doing an awesome job this broadcasting, so I want to thank you for that. Thanks, Mike at Team PGR for letting me get on board and getting this nice blaster truck all painted up. So, and again, got to thank the girlfriend letting me play on these late nights, spending this money.
All right. Well, I think she should be pretty happy because you just won some. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. You're first place and winner tonight, J.R. Miller. And I'll tell you what, we forgot to do, and I hate forgetting to do this, so I'm going to make sure that we give a chance if he's still in here. Zachary Lima. Zach, you got a copy?
What's going on?
Well, I forgot to ask you, Zach, before I let you go, was there anyone you wanted to thank or shout out as well? So let's give you a chance to do that.
Oh yeah. Just gotta thank the team, Cody and Korosek, and obviously you for the broadcast. One of the best broadcasters around, my guy. Thank you.
All right, thank you. There we go. We have heard from your top three. Let's go over your finishing results before we get to the wheel real quick. First place tonight went to J.R. Miller. Second is going to be Matt Hutchinson. Third, Zachary Lima, you just heard from right there. Fourth is going to be Curtis Rogers. Wow, good finish for Curtis. Didn't even see him sneak back into the top five. And McCall Motorsports' David Sheets finishes the last money spot in fifth place. Sixth, William H. Scott. Seventh, Larry McDonald. Eighth, Nick Fuller. Ninth, Sean Hill. 10th, James Kaufman. 11th, Michael Triscaro. 12th is going to be Cody Nagels. 13th, Ian Martin. 14th, Steve Korosek. 15th, Ken McCall Jr. 16th, Tony Cox. 17th, Mark Von Dell. 18th, Ron Morris Jr. 19th, Mike Davenport. 20th, Michael Kirk. And 21st, last truck in the field tonight, is going to be Jimmy Crow. And now that we have got everything covered tonight, let's get everything set up to get this wheel spun. To do that, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to break real quick just so we can get it popped up. I know we have a lot of guys anticipating this and anxious. So we're going to go ahead and get that popped up right now, and then we'll be good to go. All right, and here we go. Looks like we still have 10 people watching, so hopefully these are some of the guys that paid to be on here. If not, they might be really excited or potentially really upset, but here we go. First spin for the High Roller 250. First entry. Spinning it now. And there you go. Congratulations to CVP as he is going to win the first entry into the High Roller 250. Looks like he had a couple spots on the board, so that strategy must have worked out pretty well. And we will make sure we relay the message to him. Again, congrats to CVP. Last thing here real quick before we let you guys go, if anybody's still watching, is I'm getting word that we actually had a Team PGR 1-2 finish. I did not realize that Matt Hutchinson was a Team PGR driver, so we'll see if we can hear from the owner of Team PGR real quick, Michael Triscaro. Michael, you got a copy?
I'm still here, boss. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Well, it looks like I didn't realize this till just now, but sure enough, Team PGR finishes 1-2. What does that mean for the team and its momentum going forward?
That's huge, man. I was actually more happy tonight than I was when I won my race at Ron Morris a couple weeks back. I was just talking to these guys on the radio. We got to burn them down together at the start-finish line. Didn't have my best couple races the last 2 out, a little down on myself, but these guys picked me up, and just glad to get Matt on board and JR on board and get that blaster truck into victory lane, man.
All right, I think we did have a winner going home tonight with a blaster can too, so your guys' trucks were certainly looking spiffy.
Yes, sir, they were, man. We're excited. Hopefully we can bring these guys on some full time. I know them, they're a local company here in Cleveland, PB Blaster. So yeah, man, it's just fun to get a team win. We've been struggling a little bit just to get our footing. It's, there's some good teams out there, but we're coming and we're excited to race for more wins down the road.
All right, well, there you go. Team PGR is coming, so we'll see how they do in some of the other money races. That is going to just about wrap up our coverage. Don't forget, next up on the stop for Ghost Racing Network tomorrow, we have a double header, actually a triple header for me, as I will be racing one of the money races. But as terms of what we're going to be broadcasting, it's going to be Dale Cup and FEG PC. But Dale Cup's the one we got advertised right here, as it is going to be the championship race tomorrow. We will be crowning somebody with the championship belt, so don't miss it, as we will figure out whose it's going to be. We thank everybody for coming out. I hope everybody did enjoy. That's all for the Green Ghost here on Ghost Racing Network tonight.